Hey guys, Sean here. So I have your questions and we are just going to preview this today, right? And thank you guys so much for the support. I can't believe we are already past 10k subscribers. So really let's go through some really interesting questions from you all, from the community over here. But first, let's talk about the bling I'm wearing. Everyone's wondering, what am I actually wearing, right? Why do I actually invest in gold jewelry as well? So what I have over here is a Cuban link bracelet. It's around 100 grams of 22 karat gold. And if you're in the States, most probably your gold is around 18 to 20k. In Asia, it's normally around 24 or 22k, right? And what I have here is a very, very beautiful 22k necklace, or you can call it a chain with a 10-gram, I think it's a Pam bar. Yeah, Pam Swiss bar pendant over here. So altogether, I'm wearing around possibly 160 to 170 grams worth of gold, right? So I don't normally wear this out. It's too dangerous. I'll be painting target on myself. So this is just for an occasion like this, right? Where very joyous occasion and really want to celebrate with you guys, right? So let's go through your questions, and we're going to talk about mainly gold and precious metals in this video, and we'll leave the other ones out for like part 2 or part 3 because I really want to go in depth here. But before we dive in further, a quick mention of our sponsor today, Skillshare. Guys, the markets are imploding, everything is crashing, and this is the best time to invest in yourself and your own learning, right? Skillshare is an online learning community, and they have thousands of online classes that include stock investing and technical analysis. And on this channel, we take a high level view of the economy and we go macro. But when it comes to picking stocks or finding good entry points, when to buy or sell, you need a specific set of skills, and that's what I'm learning right now on Skillshare. I'm taking a class by Jimmy Nguyen called Technical Analysis Made Simple, Power of Trend Lines, Support and Resistance, and the class kind of covers important concepts including drawing accurate trend lines, understanding trading breakouts, and how to correctly use moving averages. And thanks to Skillshare sponsoring this video, the first 1,000 people to use the link down below will get a 1 month free trial of Skillshare. And in this 1 month, you can take dozens of classes from investing to building a business. So join today and start learning, because the best ROI is not in gold, it's not in stocks, it's not even in Bitcoin, it's always investing yourself. Alright, so let's get back to the video. And the first question comes from Ken Shin. If I would like to preserve wealth for the next generation, is gold or silver preferred? How much premiums do I pay? Alright, very interesting question. So if you're trying to preserve wealth for the long term, I would say 100% go for gold. And the thing about gold is that its use is specifically to store value, right? If you compare it with silver, I think around 50 or 60% is used in industries, to make solar panels, to make electric vehicles. So if you're actually looking for a vehicle to store wealth, maybe it's 10 grand, 20 grand, 100 grand for the next 100 years, right? Gold will help you. And the thing about this is that we need to look at the value of what gold was in the past. Gold was around $35 in 1971, and today it's around $1,800. Recently hit a peak of 2050, just a few months back during the Russia-Ukraine war. So this is something that you really have to factor in. Silver is great, but the bad thing about it is that it's extremely bulky. And there are so many factors in silver that could actually keep its price suppressed. I wouldn't really want to call it manipulated, but suppressed. So this is something that you really have to think through yourself. And how much premiums do I pay? All right. So when it comes to gold, right, I personally only buy gold which is 1 ounces and above, because the premiums, when you get down to the lower denominations, it can really get ridiculous. So just think about it, right? Let's say 1 ounce gold bar. See whether I have some here, right? Let's say a 1 ounce gold bar. Yeah, a 1 ounce gold bar, a bar something like this. Not so sure whether you guys can see it. It actually has a premium of only 3 to 4%. Sometimes maybe maximum 5% if you're in the area that's quite expensive. But when you go down to the lower denominations, let's say half ounce, quarter ounce, you're moving towards 8%, 15%, 20%. And that's as quite ridiculous as silver, right? And when you're talking about silver, you definitely want to get some of the generic brands of silver. So what was the term they used for it, right? Generic silver or something like that. And you definitely want to avoid silver such as the American Eagles because the premiums on this are extremely prohibitive. So if I'm not wrong, the premiums for Silver Eagles, they are around 30%, 40%. I think there was a time that you actually hit 50%, and that's very ridiculous, right? Because when you sell silver, right, when you decide to sell it, whether it's in a pinch or it comes time to sell, maybe the price is $50, $100, and you want to get rid of it, chances are you're going to take a big haircut on the premiums, right? They can maybe give you 5, 10, even 20% of the premiums that you originally paid. So I would say that it's not really a good idea to buy those exclusive brand silver when you actually can get it for much cheaper. Now, the second question, the biggest mistakes buying gold and silver. All right, so I kind of covered the premiums earlier on, and one of the obvious mistakes that I made in the past was buying gold and silver at too high of a premium. So I remember that I did buy a few collectible coins before. The premiums were around 40%, 50%, 60% on the silver side, and some of the more exclusive gold that I bought, for example, this bar over here, this year of the tiger bar over here. And if you can see this, right, it's a very beautiful bar. However, the premiums here were around 9 to 10%. And if I really turn back the time machine, I don't think I would ever do this again because right now I'm extremely cost conscious. And guys, we are moving towards a recession, right? So it's very important to maximize your dollar as much as possible. And I guess the second mistake would be to lump sum invest. And here's the thing when it comes to buying gold or silver, or whether you're buying equities, whether you're buying any kind of asset as well, right? There isn't much of a need for you to chase prices. And you need to resist the temptation of going to FOMO mode, the fear of missing out. And right now, if you see the conditions that we are in currently, interest rates are going up. A lot of people are not spending a lot of money, and sooner or later, the price of gold and silver they'll continue to dive down a bit, right? I'm not saying that they're going to go to $1,000 and silver is going to go to $5. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is that you should always try to dollar cost average your purchases when it comes to precious metals as well. And here's the thing, you might be wondering, okay, Sean, I'm not lump sum investing into kilo bars. I'm not a crazy person or extremely wealthy person. I just buy an ounce at a time. And that's fine. And if you want to dollar cost average, this is what I'm actually doing right now as well. I am buying into gold ETFs. It could be the GLD, it could be the PHYS, and for the silver, it's the SLV or the PSLV, right? So when it comes there, each of these instruments, you can actually buy into them for quite cheap. If I'm not wrong, PSLV right now is around $14 and gold is maybe around PHYS is around $32 US dollars. So you can always buy fractional shares in there. And once you actually reach the quantum of 1 ounce of gold, for example, then you can take out that amount. Maybe you accumulated 1,800 worth of PHYS shares. You can take away that amount and exchange it for cash. I take the cash and go and buy the physical gold. And in that case, you can actually continue dollar cost average. And if the price of gold actually goes up, you actually have been buying on the way up as well. So you don't really miss the big move up. And if the price goes down, you actually get a more competitive price. So I hope that answers the questions. And really, there's so many mistakes out there when it comes to buying gold and silver. I do have quite a few videos over there that you can check out. Just search on YouTube, Sean Fu, gold and silver buying mistakes or something like that. I'm sure you'll definitely get quite a few results. All right, question number 3. When will the ratio between gold and silver change? What needs to happen? That is asked by Beverly Smith. All right, so the ratio between gold and silver today, if I'm not wrong, is around 88 to 90 to 1. So that basically means that gold is 90 times more valuable than silver when it comes to price. And when will that change? Well, firstly, we need to talk about a historical 15:1 ratio, right? I think I mentioned a while before that chances are it might never ever happen in our lifetime again. I know there are a lot of people out there, they try to go back to the good old days when gold and silver were money. And yes, they were both actually forms of money. So a lot of governments, the US government, especially the ancient Romans as well, they kind of place an arbitrary peg on it, 15:1, 10:1, 20:1, whatever the peg is. And that is government mandate. That isn't really the free market. And what you're seeing today, right, as high as it is seeming to you 88 is to 1, that is the true market forces of the gold silver ratio, because silver is used so much in the industries out there that the ratio is so skewed today. So if you're asking me what will need to happen for the gold silver ratio to change, well, basically, if you want it to change, you gotta pray that psychic system that, geez, I can't even pronounce it. Psyche 16, that meteor up there in space, can actually be mined and the gold come back down to Earth, or maybe the Uganda gold discovery is true. And if that really happens, right, then yeah, the amount of supply of gold will go up, and that will make the price of gold go down. And if silver stays constant, and the ratio will narrow. And on the other hand, you kind of need silver to stop being an industrial metal. Now, this sounds radical, right? You need silver to stop being a metal that people use in solar panels, being used in cars, and just focus back to becoming a monetary metal. Because here's the thing, if the price of silver actually goes too high, somehow I think there's a lot of interest out there that wants silver to be kept at a low price so that it's much more easily affordable when it comes to manufacturing uh, electronics, solar panels, and other kinds of industrial products, right? So there is an incentive over there for people to constantly short silver. And if that's the case, right, then perhaps you can actually see the gold to silver ratio narrow. But as it stands, I don't really think that the gold to silver ratio will ever come back to 15 is to 1. Maybe at a stretch 30 is to 1, 40 is to 1, 50 is to 1. But if you're looking to exchange 15 ounces of silver for 1 ounce of gold, I think it's really going to be a cold day in hell. It's going to be a very, very far chance. It's going to be very far fetched that will ever happen. So really don't place any serious hope in that. And let's go to the next question. Will gold be illegal to own? All right. So I don't think gold will ever be illegal to own again. And I need to state that this is talking about either Western democracies or countries with the rule of law, and you're talking about first world countries, for example, Singapore and Hong Kong, right? I don't think countries will ever want to ban gold. And here's the answer why. There's a lot of, I think, experts out there, and one of them, I think, is Lynette Zhang, and I have the highest respect for her, right? She advocates a lot about buying collectible coins, buying all the St. Gaudens double eagles, just in case the government comes back and confiscate it. But you need to look at the incentive structure that's happening in the world today. You need to look at how money is being seen today, right? As much as we believe that gold and silver, they are instruments of money, especially gold is true money itself, right? A lot of the people in the world, they believe in paper currencies, they believe the dollar, they believe the yuan, they believe the lira, whatever. All those are actually money, right? So there isn't much awareness out there. And I would say when it comes to people investing into gold and silver, maybe only 5 to 10% of people actively invest in these precious metals. So when we are talking about, are the government really going to come in the middle of the night and they knock on your door, they decide to audit how much gold you have? I think we really don't need to fear that. Because if the government actually does that, what does it do? It shines a big spotlight on gold actually becoming a real competitor to the US dollar, right? To currencies. And if that happens, just imagine if America actually does that, what does it mean? It will signal to the whole world that something is financially wrong in America. We already know there's a lot of financial troubles already, right? But it means that maybe their gold reserves are fake, or maybe they are trying to confiscate all of the citizens' gold to do some kind of big program, big movement. The other countries, they'll hang on to their gold. They will start withdrawing gold from the Federal Reserve, from the Bank of England. They'll ship it all the way back to their respective countries. Gold repatriation is really happening out there. So if the American government or any government does that, right, it will just signal how close-minded that society is, how damaged their financial system really is, and it's just shooting themselves in the foot. So I really don't think any country in the right mind, with the rule of law, being a democracy, a republic, will ever want to confiscate gold. Jeez, I'm having a phone call. Oops, sorry for that phone call. All right, where are we? Ah, man, I hate it when my train of thought gets affected. Okay, so the next question. How would a government digital currency affect precious metals prices or value? Now, this is very, very interesting, right? We are now moving towards conspiracy theory. We are now talking about CBDCs. And I need to talk carefully because I don't have any other black helicopters or black vans pulling up outside of my house. And so here's the deal. CBDCs are gonna come. They're experimenting with it. I think around 10%, maybe 20% of the countries have already been putting it on trial. Some countries are delaying it. Some countries are going forward. And right now, I think we have Powell. He's very enthusiastic. He's becoming like Dr. Evil. He wants to push out the CBDCs. So if that happens, that will mean that precious metal prices are going to go up. I really believe deep down that the moment CBDCs comes out, a major CBDC, right? Maybe it's the digital dollar, digital pound. A lot of people will start flocking to gold, maybe even silver. And it's really because of this. When you come out with CBDCs, at the end of the day, it's all about two things. All about controlling the way you spend, and it's all about influencing monetary policy, which will also affect the way you spend, right? So let's say the government feels that the economy is sluggish right now and they decide to implement a negative interest rate on your bank account, right? And since everything is CBDCs, there's no point for you, or probably you can't actually take physical cash and store it under the mattress, right? So that's why I always have some, stash of physical cash right here with me just in case. I've taken this out from my safe, or this video is going back in, so it won't be in my house after this video has gone up. And we need to take the opportunity right now to get ourselves into position with precious metals, right? Because we do not know what the future will bring. Will precious metals actually become illegal and I'm wrong? Definitely, there's definitely a chance that maybe the governments all go mad and they decide to confiscate anything of value and really force us into a fiat system. And it's also possible that CBDCs, it's not possible for us to use CBDCs, or there's going to be a very prohibitive tax, 10-20%, when it comes to purchasing things that the powers don't really want us to do. And we do not know what's going to happen in the next 10, 20, 30 years. So right now, while there's still a chance to purchase gold at a fair price, right? I won't say it's actually a cheap price anymore, but it's still at a fair price of around $1,800 an ounce. It's very important to get into position right now. And a lot of people, they don't want to buy gold and silver, and that's fine for them. I'm not really in the business of trying to convince anyone to do anything. You have your own beliefs. There's the facts out there. I have my own beliefs. So I like to say that it is what it is, and you just do what you want to do what's most comfortable for you. If you believe the US dollar, you believe that property is better, you believe that collectible watches is better, you believe that it can get a better return when it comes to real estate, which I believe is actually quite true. If you know how to buy houses, then you can totally ignore precious metals. I'm not saying for you to do anything, just try to find an instrument that will best preserve your wealth and let it grow in the future. And for me, that's why I have around 10, 20, sometimes even 30% of what I own into precious metals, more specifically gold, right? Not silver. 80% of my precious metals is in gold. And let's do a final question. Let's do one that is non-gold specific, and it comes from James Hitt. Without giving any specifics that you'd rather keep private, what's your professional life like? I gather from some of your videos that you're a business owner slash freelancer. And as a freelancer myself, I like hearing other people's thought on it. Is this a good time to be self-employed? Do you expect it to get tougher to be self-employed, etc.? All right, so currently I am running a content marketing agency. It's like a digital marketing agency, but more towards Google AdWords and Google search. And this YouTube thing, I'm just doing it for fun, just to bring in extra income as well. And just to disclose to you guys, right, per month, I'm getting anywhere between $1,000 to $2,000 from this, considering the amount of work I put in. A bit of it is a bit like slave labor, right? I think people at McDonald's actually get paid more on a per hour basis than what I'm doing, but I'm kind of having fun right now. I'm kind of hoping that one day this channel can actually grow, and that's why I'm doing it. But back to your question, whether this is a good time to be self-employed. So it really depends on what you're working in and how good of a freelancer you are. Freelancing will never go away, guys. We're already moving towards the gig economy. And I would say when it comes to freelancing, let me just take a wild step in the dark, right? It's either you are a so-called white collar professional accountant, maybe you're a marketer, or you're part of the blue collar crowd, you're part in the trades, maybe you're a plumber, or maybe you are an electrician, right? So let's say you're an electrician. I think that is one kind of freelancing job that will never go away. I believe that prices will continue to go up, but it's going to be a very big hustle. And in the sense that you always have to be physically present there. You need to run back and forth. Someone gives you a call, you need to be present. You need to be on site to work. And that actually constricts the amount of money you can actually work if you want to continue to be a freelancer your whole life, right? Because you really don't have the ability to leverage your time in a sense. So I would say if you're planning to continue on that line for the future, you can definitely make six figures easily, but you'll be working very hard in the process. So I think the only next step after that maybe is to hire your own team of electricians, your own plumbing squad, and become a business owner from there. Get so good in your craft and outsource these jobs to your own team. And you just become more or less the marketeer, you become the salesman, and become the manager of the entire outfit, of your entire band of brothers, your own Robin Hood squad. That is one possibility. So I think freelancing on the blue collar side is going to continue to survive. So the second part of your question is, do you expect it to get tougher for self-employed people? Yeah, definitely. Because right now we have the internet. A lot of people are starting their own YouTube channels, starting their own Facebook groups. They are starting their own websites. They are really going out there to market themselves more aggressively. So going forward, I think becoming self-employed, whether you're a business owner, whether you're a freelancer, is definitely going to get much more difficult. But here's the thing, you can't really give up, right? Because there is a reason why I believe you're a freelancer, because everyone all starts out more or less in a job. So probably you didn't like something about your job that forced you to be there. Maybe the opportunities weren't there, you were working for a horrible boss, or maybe you got downsized, or maybe your industry went to hell, and that's why currently you're here. And that's one reason why I actually left the financial sector, because I really didn't like the lifestyle over there. It's a very brutal lifestyle. It consists a lot of drinking. That's one. I don't really like to drink, even though I can. It's bad for health. And the environment there is extremely cutthroat, right? So if you're talking about Game of Thrones, it's most probably Game of Thrones times three when it comes to the trading world, when it comes to the financial one. Don't really like, and I don't really thrive in that kind of environment. I'd rather work alone than to be a partner together with a pack of wolves. It's just me. But whether it's going to get more uh, tougher for being self-employed, definitely. But here's a tip, right? The main thing when it comes to being self-employed is getting the clients, because once you get in people paying you money, once you can actually get a consistent pipeline of clients coming to you, everything will take care of itself. You have a quite a bit more buffer of money to market even more aggressively, or to hire people. You have more of a runway to make mistakes out there. So I'm not sure whether you're doing this right now, but you can actually explore trying to get good at one platform that will bring you the most clients. So let's say the platform is going to be YouTube. You can create your own YouTube channel. You can talk about your expertise, about the people you help, and give tips and tricks on whatever you do. If you're, I don't know, maybe you are very funny, you can dance on TikTok. You can create a TikTok account and try to reach people that way. Or the most easiest way is just to get very good at Google search. Create a website, write articles, become an SEO expert, and when people search how do I XYZ in Australia or in or in New York, and your name will pop up on the first few search results. And that's really one way you can actually continue to become a very profitable freelancer. I know freelancers out there who make a quarter million, $500,000 a year, and that's because they are actually masters in marketing as well, and they can charge higher prices because of it. So I wish you all the best. Being self-employed is really a great adventure. I think that's one of the few ways that you can transition to be a business owner as well. And yeah, I think you'll figure it out, right? So that comes to the end of the Q&A. Really thank you guys for this journey to 10K subscribers. I hope that we can reach 20K, 50K, 100K one day. And for the remaining questions, I'm going to do a part 2 sometime end of August or the beginning of September. So don't worry, right? I'll cover your questions. And yep, that's it. Peace out.